Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome yet again to this episode of Lunch Guide. My name is Chef Andy, and today I've got something very interesting for you all to see. We're going to be making a very simple grilled pineapple chicken wrap, and I'll start off by introducing the ingredients we'll be working with. So from the front, I've got some deboned chicken thighs. I've also got some julienne peppers, a bit of lettuce there, a bit of flour for the wrap, of course, and some for dusting. I also have some pineapple chunks, some mushrooms, some honey there, a bit of teriyaki sauce, a bit of olive oil and some salt, and also a bit of garlic and half a piece of white onion. So we're going to go into a short break now, and I'll give you this chance to grab your pens and papers if you're taking notes. And when we come back, we're going to just dive right into it. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. For those of you who just missed out on the introduction, we were just introducing the ingredients which we'll be working with today, and among them is a bit of chicken there. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to be making a teriyaki chicken with some mushrooms and some peppers, and we're basically going to use all those ingredients to fill our wrap. So we're going to start off by cooking our chicken. So already have a pan that's already heating. To that, I'll add about a tablespoon of oil and just give that a few seconds to heat up. So at this point, I'll remind you to always start your pan at a very high heat. Remember, you're basically going to be you're going to just basically cook this really quickly. And the best way to get a beautiful teriyaki is basically by doing it with a very hot pan. And if you have a wok as well, it will just do the same thing for you. I'm just going to get my oil spread out nice and evenly around my pan. Very important before you start. And all you're going to do now is, using a pair of tongs, start by adding your chicken to the pan. And these are just chunky pieces, as I said. And you can actually also use some breast, but I'm using a thigh for this recipe. Right, so all you need to do now is just cook that at very high heat. Remember, as I said, you really want it to cook very fast in the shortest time possible. Now to that we'll also be adding some teriyaki sauce, a bit of honey, a bit of some pineapple, and a bit of our peppers, and also our white onion. So I'll just start by chopping our white onion. Right, so at this stage, you might actually notice your pan will flame up quite a little bit. So into that we'll add our onions. And just proceed to toss that. Right, so at this stage I'm also going to start adding some of my peppers. And we'll also add a bit of our mushrooms. So just cut those into just some nice thin slices. So I'm only going to use about 3 pieces of mushrooms, so about half a cup of chopped mushrooms. And then all you need to do now is add those to your pan. And now just proceed to cook everything together. Right, so while that proceeds, I'm also going to season it lightly with a bit of salt. And at this stage now we're going to add our teriyaki sauce. Just proceed to toss everything together. And then last but not least, about half a tablespoon of honey. That's just basically to give it a nice beautiful glaze and also to give it a nice beautiful sweetness. And just proceed to toss everything together, allowing everything to cook undisturbed for about another 5 to 6 minutes. But while that continues, I'm also going to just grab another bowl on the side. And this is basically just for us to start making our wrap. I'm just going to grab some water. And into your bowl now, you'll start off by sifting about half a cup of flour. And we'll add also half a pinch of salt. And just by making a small well right in the center there, add about 1 teaspoon of cooking oil. And add also about a quarter cup of water. And then just proceed to mix everything together. Making sure, as I said in the beginning, always making sure not to add too much water in the beginning. You might actually not be able to get that water out of your dough once you do so. So as you can see, very, very little water needed. I'm just going to add a little bit more. Just proceed to combine all those ingredients together. And once you notice it's a little too wet, just always reserve a bit of flour. And just add just a bit of flour just to reconstitute your dough. And proceed to combine everything in your bowl, working your dough into one firm, consistent ball, about the size of a golf ball. Now our chicken is almost done. So we're basically now going to lower our temperature and allow that to continue cooking for about 4 to 5 minutes. Right, so your dough is now nicely done, and as you can see, the bowl is actually nice and clean. So all you're going to do now is proceed to knead your dough for about 2 minutes before allowing it to go on its first rest. Basically, once you're done, just a bit of flour in your bowl, then proceed to roll your dough into a nice firm ball, of course giving a bit of pressure there to get rid of any air pockets, and just allow that to sit in your bowl. And you can actually just cover that with a cloth and allow it to sit for a few minutes. Right. So now you've got your dough done, it's now nicely resting, and your chicken is now just about done. We're just going to give that a quick toss. And to that, we'll add about a quarter cup of some diced pineapples. So these you actually want to add in last. You don't really want them to cook in there. You really just want them to really get the flavor. And just combine all that teriyaki and honey. And now your chicken is done. You can actually now take that off the heat. And now proceed to heat another pan, basically the one that you'll be making your wraps in. So very, very simple. Just going to get rid of our board for now. Right, and basically now, very, very simply, grab a bit of flour and dust your surface. And using your rolling pin, you're basically going to now start rolling out your dough. Right, so just grab your dough. And basically all you need to do is just dust it lightly over the top and give it a nice soft press. Turn it over, dust it once more. And now you can proceed to roll out your dough, starting by pressing right in the middle and working your way outwards. Turn your dough 90 degrees and proceed. And then lightly dust over the top, spreading your flour by hand, and turn your dough around, dust once more lightly, and then just proceed to roll out your dough until you get a nice round flat tortilla wrap shape, which should be anywhere between 6 to 7 inches in diameter. Add a bit of flour. Making sure to roll your tortilla wrap to the thinnest possible thickness you can manage. Now just lightly flour the top, spreading your flour over the surface and brushing off any excess. And now you can basically now just use your pizza cutter or any normal knife that you may have to just get a nice beautiful circle out of that. So I particularly like to show with a plate, so I just use a big plate. Just put that right over the top of your dough and just proceed to cut right around and discard the rest. And all you need to do now is transfer your tortilla wrap onto your pan and just allow each side to cook for anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes. Right, so we're just going to proceed to clear out our counter. Right, so using your hand, just move your tortilla wrap around your pan, and using a pair of tongs, begin by lifting one side just to check. And once you see nice golden little spots there of brown, you basically know it's already time to turn it over. Proceed to cook the second side for about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. And remove as soon as you actually start to notice those beautiful brown specks right on the other side as well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is now done. So just set that on a plate and allow it to cool off slightly, and you can now just turn down your gas. Ladies and gentlemen, that is as simple as it is to make a tortilla wrap. Now we're basically now done making our tortilla wrap, and our chicken filling is ready. So we only left with one particular step, which is basically to plate and combine everything together. But before we do so, we're going to allow you to refresh and take a short break, and we're going to see you in a little while. So please don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back from the short break. We were just finishing off this beautiful chicken teriyaki with pineapple. And I've also now got my wrap ready here, and I've also got some honey and mustard here, which we're going to be using to assemble our wrap. So without further ado, we're going to just jump into it. So I'm just going to use my tongue here to just give that a bit of a mix, just to refresh it. And up next, we're going to start off by spreading some of this beautiful honey and mustard on the wrap. Remember, particularly with the wraps, they do become very, very dry, so it's always very, very important to have a bit of a spread or a sauce right on the inside. It actually makes it a little easier to enjoy your wrap, and it also enables you to actually really get some of those flavors spreading right through to every bite. So I'm just going to start by spreading that all over the surface. And there's plenty of other different spreads you could use. You can actually use mayonnaise, you could use some cream cheese, so it actually is to your preference. The only difference is the fact that the toppings and the fillings really just work hand in hand to combine flavors. But it's always very, very important, if you're going to make a wrap, do also take some time and check out some recipes online. You could actually steal some very beautiful ideas. Right, so up next we're going to add some lettuce. So I'm just going to tear just a few of those chunky pieces, and I'm just going to start by spreading those right across the center. Making sure to use most of the softest parts of your lettuce leaves. Right, simple as that. Up next, just start by spreading first your chicken pieces. So just spread those out nice and wide, and then proceed now to add all your other vegetables, which is basically the peppers, the mushrooms, and last but not least, that beautiful pineapple that we caramelized in there together with the chicken. Simple as that. And now just a few peppers as well, just to give it a bit of a bite and a crispness to it as well. And simple as that, proceed to fold your wrap over. So always start from the side closest to you and just fold your wrap, covering most of the ingredients in front of you, and then just start by pushing everything back inside, which should allow you to be able to wrap your tortilla really, really tight. So always just give it a bit of time, always just try and squeeze those ingredients right underneath there, and then proceed to roll right to the very end. And just using a sharp knife, cut right through the center. And that should be able to actually allow you to really display it really well on the plate. So as you can see, you can now see those nice beautiful layers. So those can just go right on your plate, and you can just reserve the rest of what is remaining. So ladies and gentlemen, that is as simple as it is to actually make a tortilla wrap, and I think most of you have managed to steal something from this episode that you can also use in your very own kitchens at home. From my end, this is basically done, and it is a pleasure to also be with you today and be able to show you how it's done. I hope you've definitely had some fun like I did. But from the studios, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching and for tuning in. I will remind you to check out our Facebook page, check out our YouTube links as well. There's plenty of videos in there for you to learn and see from. But from this particular side of mine, I'm just going to bid you farewell. Wish you a lovely week ahead, and definitely hoping to see you on the next episode. So from here, from us, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a lovely day.